Welcome everyone. Hope you already had a nice session and I have a present for you. I have some insights of an app we created, also for technicians. But first, let me introduce myself. So I'm Steven, a business application consultant, and I started in 2017 at Avento. Those who attended previous Resco Next sessions know Avento probably. And there I worked on the Fearless Leader product. It's our vertical specifically for FMCG and CPG industry. Since 2023, Cegeka took over Avento. And since then, I'm spreading the word of Resco within Cegeka. And that gives me also more opportunity to work on the Fearless Leader. So then at a certain point, a customer of ours came to us to create an app for technicians. And technicians was not really my comfort zone because I was used to the FMCG industry. So I stepped out of that comfort zone, but I took a lot of aspects from that Fearless Leader solution and I used it in the app we created. So let's step out the comfort zone and let's have a look at what the actual solution was. But first, let's start with the business need. So we are talking about water softeners. So we have technicians on the road who go and install water softeners, repair them. And because water softeners are mostly in the basement, yeah, definitely offline capabilities were needed. And then it was very specifically in this case, the planning was already done in the ERP system. So we did not need any scheduling, any planning. It was already done, but only the date was fixed, not the hour. So the only request was make the later planning as optimal as possible. When doing further analysis, we noticed that, yeah, we need some kind of an integration between the ERP and the CRM system to have these scheduled appointments in CRM. But what about urgent interventions? How do we manage that? Further, as already said, we need an optimized planning, and technicians before the project were already used to drive with Waze. So we needed to somehow incorporate Waze as well. And last but not least, also the calendar should give a nice and clear overview for the technician on what to do when and what to bring. Next to that, they also wanted SMS communication. So a few days beforehand, an SMS needed to be sent to the customer, hey, technician is arriving. But also the typically I'm on my way SMS, so just before the technician starts to drive, an SMS needs to be sent. Next to that, the app should help the technician, guide the technician on what to do, when, and in which order. So with giving them structure with check-in, check-out, and do all the things like payment, like automated email with a report, and then at the end, all the documentation and pictures needed to be shifted to SharePoint also. So you might think, why don't you use field service? Well, the approach was a little bit different. We have one appointment equals one intervention. We don't have work orders, bookable resources, and so on. Also, planning was already done. So that's why we did not use field service. And if you think about technicians, then you also think about inspections. But here, there was only a limited set of parameters that needed to be recorded, like water hardness, the water counter, and pH. And there was no change expected in the amount of parameters to be recorded. So that's why we skipped the inspections. So let's have a look to our solution and what we built. Let's start with the integration of the interventions from the ERP system. So as you can see, we got a lot of data, customer data, contracts, sales, and so on. And it's sent to the CRM system in from 4 to 6 different tables to get all the data where we need it. And because of the ERP system did not support the URI. We used our own developed data connection method that we use since years and years, and it has proven stability at more than 30 customers. Then, so the planning is from the ERP to the CRM. Let's see what we can do with this planning. Well, all the appointments did not have yet a start date, so we set them all in the morning, 8 o'clock here, all next to each other. And then it was up to the technician to choose what to do. He can use the optimized route that was just shown in the previous session as well, or he can drag and drop them manually, but he was limited to drag and drop only in the same day. And that was just done by Resco rules, so no specific coding for that. Okay, next to that we have this overview for the technician. So he can also easily see how much kilogram of salt he needs to take in his fan before he starts his work. And you also already see here for every appointment has its colored line. And this colored line is in fact the status of the appointment. So green is complete and blue is still to do. There are other colors to come. And this colored line is actually just a cell with a constant value that receives its style via the standard row script. So as already said, so the planned interventions are in blue. But when the technician checks in, it becomes orange, it becomes yellow when checked out. When he's doing the payment, it becomes red. And when it's all complete, it becomes green. And this is also just color coding standard rules on the agenda. You might think that all the color coding might be some confusing for the technician, but that's why we add a color legend also in the app. And this is just an iframe on the home screen referring to an offline HTML page. Okay, so planning is done. Now we need to communicate with the customer to say, hey, we're arriving almost. And that is with the SMS communication. But first we have this SMS 2 days before. And actually, this is an Azure web job that is running every night. And it will check all the appointments. Do I need to send an SMS? Yes or no? And it will create an SMS record. But on creation, a plugin will actually then send the SMS. And then the technician also can see that the SMS is effectively sent and to which phone number. So he has proof that communication is done and he's quite sure that the customer will be at home. So, so indeed the sending is done with a plugin, a bit important for the next one, because we have also this I'm on my way SMS. So if the technician opens the next appointment, he can click on send approaching SMS, and then we use some JavaScript to actually create a new SMS record and immediately sync it to the server. And when it arrives on the server, it's again the same plugin that will actually send the SMS. And because it's an asynchronous plugin, the result of that is also sent back during the same sync, so the technician can immediately see that the SMS is effectively sent to the customer. All right. So the customer is warned that we are on our way, so now let's start navigating. And we can there use the standard connection with the navigate to function, and it's all set for the technicians to use Waze. But what about the address? So if you use the navigate to functionality, latitudes and longitudes are sent to Waze. But are these coordinates okay? Are they good? But we noticed that sometimes technicians were 2 blocks away. Why was that? Well, the address is entered in the ERP system, and there we don't have control. We're not the ERP partner. So we just receive the address information in that integration. And when we receive the address, we use an Azure function with an Azure Maps key to generate the coordinates. But sometimes there might be some mistakes in the address where the number is not correct or is missing, or the zip code is entered in the field of the city and the other way around. So, and then you can have bad results. So that's why we added here this confidence level. And if the confidence level is below than 0.9, then we advise the technician to manually enter the address into Waze, because then he gets the online suggestions of Waze instead of using probably the wrong coordinates. All right. Yeah, so that I already said. Then, if the technician arrives, he can start with the intervention. And here, again, we use the same color codes. So this is actually to help the technician, the same color, blue, when he opens the appointment. And here it says, check in to get started, or reschedule. And if he checks in, then it becomes orange, like we also saw in the calendar. And also this is just done with styles. And also for every status of the appointment, we created another form to have really focus on the parts that he needs to use. And that is just done with the form select rule. Okay, while he's doing the intervention, he can add extra products here. And you see that plus and minus button to alter the quantity. And this is just an image direct edit with a cell click rule on the view to do the math. So then the calculation happens automatically. And on the right, we have this thumbnail with all the pictures that have been taken. That is just a horizontal subgrid with a list note on the view. Okay, then if everything is done, all the products are added. Of course, we need some calculation of the price, the total price, VAT level, and so on. Perhaps some prepayment that has been done. And then this calculation is just done with the on-change rules. There is no code behind. If everything is calculated, then we can move on to the payment. And here we had some JavaScript to have extra pop-ups so they can choose between pay now and pay later. Let's have a look at the pay now. There you can choose between the QR code and the payment terminal. So if they choose the QR code, then actually an HTTP request is done to our server that sends an Azure function to get the exact QR code to pay, and then the customer can pay with his mobile phone. When we used the payment terminal, it's more or less the same. If they click on Pay with Terminal, then an Azure function is sending the request to the Molly platform. The Molly platform sends the request to the terminal, including the ID of the terminal, which is attached to the technician. If the customer pays with his bank card, then the terminal sends it back to the Molly platform. And the same Azure function that sent the request is polling that platform every 5 seconds to see if that payment is actually done or not. All right, so payment is done. Then we can continue with automated email with the service report. And here we did some extra JavaScript. So it was, we wanted the technician to not have any choice of what to do with the report. No, he can just click on View Service Report, and it's immediately generated and saved with the right naming convention as an attachment. If everything is okay, Yeah, so this is with JavaScript. If everything is okay, then we just use the standard out-of-the-box functionality with the enhanced mobile service report to add the signatures into the PDF report. And then there are no screenshots of that, but then behind the scenes, an email record is automatically created and sent when the data is synchronized to the server. If the appointment is done, then the technician will complete the appointment, and then he gets the question, do you want to sync the data now? And if you choose yes, then our JavaScript will launch the sync. Here, we did not use the standard auto-sync of Resco, because then it would sync just a little bit too much during the whole process. So that's why we did it with JavaScript. All right, so in the end, yeah, there are a lot of pictures taken, reports created, and so on. So yeah, Dataverse space is growing and consuming a lot of megabytes. And on the other hand, those reports and pictures also needed to be consultable for non-CRM users. So that's why we have a web job that is running every night and is taking all the documents from CRM and sends it to SharePoint and replaces it with a hyperlink. That way, if you still use CRM and you see an attachment, you can click on it, and then the hyperlink gets the picture or the report from SharePoint and will show it to you. And also the Resco sync mechanism will follow that hyperlink to effectively fetch the documents from SharePoint. Then on SharePoint itself, we created a very fixed structure. And there we have per customer, per service account, per contract, and per intervention. We have a whole drill down of folders. There we place all the reports and the pictures together with all possible metadata that we can find, so we can enable an easy search there. And it's quite important that you have this structure very fixed, because if you would want to change it, or you move folders, move files in another folder, then the hyperlink I was talking about will lose its functionality. So this is very important to speak that through with your client up front. All right, so yeah, as a conclusion, there was a lot of things to do in this project. And these are all the tentacles I was talking about, but actually only the SMS communication and the payment was specifically created for this project. And all the other things, from the color coding, the integrations, and so on, these were just cherry picking from our Fearless Leader solution. And speaking of the Fearless Leader solution, here we have some nice thing to announce, because since I think April, our solution is also available on the Microsoft App Source. And when you would try this solution, you not only get our vertical solution, our CRM managed solution, but in that package is also the Resco suite is included in the package together with our Woodford project. So that's something we are very proud of. All right, my name is Steven. Thank you very much.